I have a dog over here. He's just staring out the window. Hello, dog. Yes. An audience today. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be back. I have taken a little break. We had some family issues going on, health concerns mostly. A lot of that has been taken care of now, which is fabulous. It's great. I also kind of got into a really flustered and panicky state because of it, and it just didn't sit well with me, and so I needed to take a really quick rest for a couple of weeks just to kind of get myself back into the swing of things again, because it totally threw me for a loop. But everything's fine, everything's good, and hopefully things will continue as they always are. And for a very, very long time, we don't have to really deal with a whole lot. But anyway, I'm back. So it's good to see you all again. If you haven't been to the channel before, welcome. If you have, welcome back. Mostly on this channel, I talk about books and bookish topics. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, then you are in the right place. I wanted to go over what I read for the month of January to kind of get myself back into doing videos again, because I feel like it's just been forever since I've done one. So I'm going to go through the month of January and everything I read with you. It was a very good reading month for me. I read 11 books, and that is a lot of material for me. Some of them were long, some of them were short. There was a good variety of material, I think. And so I was very, very pleased with my progress in the month of January. I set myself up again for 2024 like I did in 2023. My goal of being 100 books. So I think that this is a really good start to this year, and I hope to continue on in this pattern that I've established, and hopefully can read maybe over 100 books this year. I actually ended last year with about 104 books total, which is really great for me. I was so surprised I even got to 100, or that I made it to 104 all said and done. That was really great for me. So let's begin with the beginning, I guess, of the month of January. I finished, first off, a book that I was reading during Christmas. So I finished Laura Child's Twisted Tea Christmas. It was a very standard Laura Child's book. It's a cozy mystery series. If you're familiar, you'll know. It was pretty good for a Laura Child's book. I do think I'm getting a little bit bored with Laura Child's material, though, that I've read a lot more variety now. I feel like it's maybe a lower standard than what I used to really, really love it. So back in the day, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe at this point, my goodness, that's really dating me. I would rate her books 4 and 5 stars because I really enjoyed the heck out of them. Nowadays, like with this one, it was just so predictable. I've read so many of them, I ended up giving it a 3 stars. But it was still very entertaining. I still enjoyed it. So 3 stars is kind of the standard now for entertaining, and just kind of enjoyed it. So not really a whole lot to say about it. If you enjoy the Laura Child Tea Shop Mysteries books, then it's more of the same. So you'll probably love it. Moving on from that, I finished up Twelfth Night, which is in the comedies of the Shakespeare collection that I have. I don't think I've found a comedy that I really enjoy yet from Shakespeare. Sad to say. I just haven't found the right one yet. Twelfth Night was kind of boring to me. It made sense. It was all right. The story itself was okay, and it was a lot of gender bending and roles reversals and stuff like that, which can be interesting, but I just did not find the plot interesting at all. I think that I will end up finding another comedy that I will enjoy more. I still really like A Midsummer Night's Dream a lot. That one's hilarious to me. So it's probably still my number 1 comedy by Shakespeare. But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like Twelfth Night. I thought it was really really boring and not very funny at some places. Like it just kind of maybe went over my head, or the jokes fell flat. I don't know. But yeah, that was Twelfth Night to me. I ended up giving it like 3 stars again. I really probably should have put it as 2 stars because it just really wasn't my favorite. Moving on to something completely different, I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by, oh, I'm going to butcher this, Toshikazu Kawaguchi. And it was enjoyable. It was very Japanese. I mean, this is the most Japanese book ever. Murakami, him being Japanese, and of course this author being Japanese as well, they write like Japanese people, bring off, they give off the feelings and emotions of the Japanese as they are. This core Japaneseness. I don't know how else to describe it. They can't communicate with each other. They can't express their feelings easily. Everything is kind of a struggle, especially in their relationships and understanding each other and all of this. It's just very like in their culture just to be like that. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just so Japanese. So I enjoyed that part of it. It was very Japanese, written very much so as a Japanese person would write it. I did think that the time traveling aspects of it was really cool. I thought it made a lot of sense. Sometimes when time travel is involved in books, it's excessively magical and doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I think in this one, the way that it was treated and the way it was explained, it was very interesting and believable to an extent. Very believable. And I also thought that the stories that played out in here, because there's like 4 stories that you follow in this, and they're broken up into each of the chapters is a different story. And it's very good and very believable as to why these people would actually want to travel to the past to meet with somebody. There's also a lot of restrictions around the time travel, which was very believable as well. So I enjoyed that part of it. It was really interesting. I don't think it's like an absolutely necessary, you have to read this or it's going to change your life kind of a book. It's just a really interesting take on time travel. And if you are interested in that kind of thing at all, I'd say go ahead and read it. It's pretty good. I did give it a 3 stars because it did entertain me, but it wasn't like mind-blowing to me at all. The next book I read was Woman Eating, and this is by Claire Coda. This was a really interesting take on the vampire. Very cool. I liked the modern twist to it. I liked the fact that the person who was the vampire was going to school and trying to get themselves out there, trying to make money. They had a very interesting relationship with their mother, and I don't know what was going on exactly, but the mother was not well, and so the mother ended up having to go to like a mental institution sort of a thing, and the younger vampire having to figure out life after her mother's sort of out of the picture, but also still in the picture because she's trying to care for her as well. So really interesting take on that. I think it could have done more though. I felt like the author ended it a little too abruptly when it could have just kind of expanded out a little bit further and like explored even more topics, even more things, struggles, that kind of a thing. I think it just could have been more, and I kind of wanted more out of it than what was given to me. So I ended up giving it a 4 stars because of that, but it was still really cool and really interesting. So if you enjoy vampire stories and you'd like to read something else, like I would say this is more like Carmilla, just for the fact that the main character is female. But yeah, if you're really interested in that kind of thing, I would definitely read it. It was good. Next, I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Oh my goodness. I really enjoyed this one. I think that I loved this. I didn't give it a 5 stars though, because it wasn't absolutely perfect in everything, but I really loved the characters in this. I really thought that Emily Wilde was very likable. I could commiserate with her. I'm very much like Emily in a lot of the ways that she's like. Kind of enjoys being alone, has a hard time dealing with people, just wants to study all the time. That's really just me. And I also enjoyed the main love interest in this. He was very, very cool. He was just like the perfect man when perfect men don't exist. But yeah, if a man would exist like this, that would clean and cook and do all of the things that you need done, he would be the perfect man. That's just all I have to say on that. But I didn't really like the ending so much. The ending was okay, but I'm kind of hoping that that will be better resolved in the next book that has been put out by this author, and I'm going to get. And it's called Emily Wilde in the Other Lands, I think, is what the next one will be. I think it's back here somewhere. Hold on. Heather Fawcett has written some other YA books recently. Oh yeah, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. That's right. Map of the Other Lands is the next book. And it is out now. And I'll probably go ahead and pick it up really soon. I'm just not going to get it right away, probably. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. 4 stars all the way. Then after that, I read and finally finished, because I needed to finish it really bad, Ice Fields by Thomas Wharton. I enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty good. I didn't really tab a lot in here. I like tabbed one thing. The only reason I really tab anything now in books is if I find a sentence or a description, or I find something really remarkable and something I'd really like to remember in this book or in the material that I'm reading. So that's really the only reason I'll tab anymore. But I haven't really come across a whole lot of that in a lot of recent reads lately, so it's kind of disappointing. I hope I find something really soon that I'm just like wanting to tab the crap out of, because it's all so profound. But I still enjoyed it. I thought the descriptions were really nice. I enjoyed the icy, the descriptions of the ice fields themselves, of the glacier, of the coldness, the bitterness. I enjoyed the characters for the most part. I thought it was a very good book, and it was very entertaining. But I think I did get bored in some parts, and some parts kind of woke me back up again, which was kind of why I think I ended up taking this one as slow as I did. It just got a little bit boring, but it was still very pretty. I don't know. That's just how I kind of felt about it. Good book. It's still a great book. So I think I gave it like a 3.5, almost a 4, only because I got bored a little bit. But I think that if you enjoy anything about glaciers and the world, the study of geography, anything like that, or if you like ice, if you really like ice, I don't know, then go ahead and read this book, because it is very interesting. All right, after that, I read Eugenie Onegin. I think that's how it's pronounced, Eugenie Onegin. Very, very interesting. It's by Alexander Pushkin. It's all in rhyme. The entire story is told in rhyme, and it is the most beautiful story. I just enjoyed it so much. Very good. I have no other words for it. It's so pretty. You feel like you're just being showed the most beautiful landscapes, beautiful pictures, beautiful descriptions of everything. And these people are just talking in the most eloquent, flowery almost language that you can't be helped but be captivated. It's just so good. I don't know. I don't think it was perfect, though. I'll say that. I'll give it all those props, but I really don't think it was perfect. It's so great, though. So I ended up giving this a 4.5. I think it would have been really perfect if, you know, if we'd had a better ending, a more beautiful ending, perhaps, a more romantic ending. I wanted a romantic ending out of this, and I really don't think that this ending was very romantic at all. It was a little bit too tragic for me there. But if you like tragedy in the end, but if you love a beautiful story, if you love a beautiful story, even with the tragedy at the end, go ahead and read it. It's beautiful. I think everybody should probably read this one. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous book. Very gorgeous book. So good. All right, the next book. Sorry if I'm kind of flying through these. I am kind of on a time limit here. Yeah, I'm on a time limit here, and I need to hurry. The next book I read was Anne of the Island in the Anne of Green Gables series by L.M. Montgomery. I love these little tiny books. Aren't they so cute? And I like the text size in it too. It's just right. Like, I can read it without my readers, no problem, but I can carry these little books with me everywhere in my purse. It's so easy to do. Anyway, Anne of the Island is the third book, I believe, in the series, and Anne has grown up a bit. She's in her early 20s, I believe, at this point, and she's going to college. And she's going to college with her good friend Gilbert, and she and Gilbert start having a bit of a relationship. And if you like a slow burn romance, you really need to read Anne of the Island and the entire Anne of Green Gables series, to be perfectly honest, because it starts from the very beginning. And Gilbert has a thing for Anne for so long. And then you finally get together at some point. So anyway, they finally get together at the end of this book. So if you love a slow burn romance, this is perfect for that. It's beautifully written. L.M. Montgomery is just a glorious writer. If you have not read any of her material before, I highly suggest that you read this one. Anne of Green Gables, the first book, is a perfect book. Absolutely perfect book. This one I gave a 4.5 because it's not 100% perfect. You know, I think that the perfection of Anne of Green Gables comes from the fact that it's coming from a little girl, and that's what makes it so cool. But Anne's a little older in this one now, so you're almost kind of used to that and expecting of it, but you kind of want more in a way. And L.M. Montgomery doesn't really give you that more quite. I don't know. Maybe I'm really thrown off by that, or maybe I'm really off there. But anyway, it's great. You should still read it. They're fabulous books. And I'm really looking forward to the next one, which is, I think, Anne of Windy Poplars. That's right. That one's the next one. And these are great for if you need something really relaxing to read, because they're the most calming, soothing, relaxing books ever. And they're just beautiful. So please read these if you haven't yet. They're so good. Then after that, I read Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I don't know what the big hype about Robin Hobb is. I had looked around for another fantasy series to kind of get started on, but I didn't want anything that was extremely violent. I didn't want anything with a romance necessarily. I wanted a high fantasy. I was just thinking in that kind of vein at that point. I was like, I want a high fantasy. I want something like Tolkien. I want to just really put myself into a long series. I want a ridiculously long series. So I looked at Robin Hobb. This is the beginning of the Farseer trilogy, which then goes into 2 other trilogies, maybe 3 other trilogies if I'm remembering correctly. And so I started with this one because this is where you begin. And I liked the main character. I thought he was fine. I thought that the story moved along okay, but we really spent a really long time on the training, a really long time on the early life of this young bastard born noble, who is growing up, and he is trying basically not to get killed this whole time because he has special gifts, special abilities that his entire line has, and that the princes who are the actual rulers of this kingdom, they all have these special abilities. And it was okay. It wasn't great. I don't know why I didn't think it was like the best thing since sliced bread. I just didn't enjoy it very much. I don't know if it wasn't Robin Hobb's writing. I think it was because we spent so much time on training. We spent so much time on these small intrigues going on when we really don't know what's going to happen. If a decision is made, we don't know if something that happened is going to impact the main character, and the main character is going to end up getting killed, and all this stuff. And it was too much little intricate things going on. Whereas Lord of the Rings and Tolkien really focused on the story itself, the end game itself, getting to the ring of power. The ring of power is, the problem. We need to find a way to destroy the ring of power. We take the ring of power to Mordor because that is the only place that we can take it to destroy it. Frodo and Sam have to struggle to go through, the mountains of the Mordor and, get there and destroy the ring, but the ring has a hold on Frodo, and Sam has to help Frodo get all of that made a whole, was all of the story itself. And from beginning to end, the whole story was about the ring, and then the characters acting out their parts are the scenes that lead all the way to the end. I felt like that is not what I was getting here at all, because there was no big, greater evil happening. In my opinion, and maybe I'm getting on a soapbox here, so I apologize if I do. And if you want to skip this part, feel free to skip this part, but I'm going to rant right now. So hang on to your horses. I feel like if you're going to tell a high fantasy, you have to tell it from the beginning, and you have to know what the stakes are. You have to know who the main bad guys are. None of that, I feel like, was established in this book at all. There was no bad guy. There was no, we have to save the world, that kind of thing. I just feel like in high fantasy that has to be there. And I feel like it wasn't there. If I'm wrong, please point it out to me. Maybe I didn't see this. Maybe I don't get it, which is totally fine. It's completely possible. I'm not, an infallible person or whatever. I don't know everything. I could have completely missed what the problem was. But I just felt like we were following this kid. For what reason? Why are we following him? Yeah, he has a problem within his family. Yeah, all of his family has these powers and they don't really want him around. And there's this kind of struggle for power play going on the whole time. But there was no greater evil. I couldn't identify a greater evil or purpose to this. I don't know if I'll pick up the next book. I have no idea. If I want to maybe try and give it another chance, maybe I'll pick up the next book. Maybe things will get interesting. Maybe things will become a little bit different. All I know is that I have read science fiction books with an element of fantasy in it, where they were kind of just in medieval times. And that had a greater evil aspect to it, where we knew what the greater evil, the greater problem was, the thing that we had to surmount. I just don't feel like that was established in here. And I would actually categorize those books, and I cannot remember them for the life of me what they were called. I will have to look it up and find it, and if I find it, I will put it down here somewhere in here. But those were really good books, and that was a really long series that I read, and I don't even know if I've read all of those books. In fact, I should look that up. It was kind of a crazy concept, but I enjoyed the hell out of it because I listened to all of them and they were really good. So anyway, I'll just say that Assassin's Apprentice entertained me in some ways. So I gave it a 3 stars. But overall, I just didn't really get it. And maybe I'll give it another chance, which is why I'm giving it 3 stars, really. Is that I like the writing. The writing was good. And it entertained me to an extent. But I didn't think it was like a high fantasy. Shoot the messenger if I'm wrong. But I just felt like it was not a high fantasy at all. And then the very last book that I read for the month of January, and I'm going to count it for January because I had like an hour of it left, the morning of February 1st. So I'm counting this for January for me. It's my judgment call on this one. Was House of Flame and Shadow. It was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed House of Flame and Shadow a lot. There's been a lot of people who have had some negative opinions on it, and I totally get it. We didn't get all the answers. Not everything was tied up in a pretty little bow. Sarah didn't bring in every little piece and thing that we wanted to as a fandom to see. I totally get it. And I don't want to spoil anything in this particular video, so I'm not going to go further into that. But some people were disappointed. I was not. I loved this ride. Oh my gosh. It was full freaking throttle from beginning to end. I kid you not. I could not put the thing down. I couldn't stop listening really because I get everything on audiobook for Sarah J. Maas first, and then I get the paperback because I do like to read the paperbacks. In the United States, we don't have a paperback version yet, so there you go. And also, the 2 Crescent City books, I've gotten both of those in paperback, so I'm just going to end up getting the 3rd book in paperback as well. So, that's how I roll. That is totally how I roll, and I love doing it that way. But yeah, I had so much fun with it. The narrator for the audiobooks through Audible is so good. I love listening to her voice, and every time she'd start reading, at the very beginning of the book, I recognize her voice, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're in for a ride! This is gonna be awesome! So, yeah, you could tell how excited I was. I had such a good time listening to that. 4.5, probably 4.75 now that I'm sitting here going, oh my god, I loved it so much. It was this close to being a 5-star for me. This close. So good. It was so fun, and I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. So I won't go on and on about House of Flame and Shadow. I love Sarah J. Maas. I love her writing style. I love her characters. It's all fun. It's all meant to be fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect. None of the little odds and ends have to completely mesh together and coalesce and all of this. If there's a factual thing that you have to, from a past book, maybe something was said that's, now they've oh, this is canon, this is fact, and then Sarah changes it a little bit in the next book. I don't care. I think that's totally fine. Some people are really picky about that stuff, though, and I don't blame them. But I'm just this is Sarah's thing. This is Sarah's words. This is her thoughts. This is her book. I want to read exactly how Sarah has put it out. So, it's her masterpiece. It's her pizza baby. Let her make it the way she wants to. So, anyway, that was everything. That was everything I read in the month of January, and it was so good, and I'm so glad that I got so much read in the month of January. It was amazing. I had an amazing month up until a couple of weeks ago, and then it all went to shit. Family life went to shit, and then I'm just well, shoot. Now I need to get back to reality and get off of my Sarah J. Maas high cloud of goodness. But in any case, I thank you so much for watching the videos, and I should be back very, very soon with my reaction video for House of Flame and Shadow. It's going to be a wild, crazy time. I'm trying to keep myself concise. God knows it's probably going to be an hour long. I will try not to do that, but that's probably what's going to end up coming out next. It's either going to be that one or what I plan to read for the month of February. My robot vacuum just started up, so I'm going to turn this off. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye.